That during on the Geshe on that name the Genje and the Patur Dromo Droyamat, Droyamava, the Lakat and Dromo Chitine, and Nalia, Chick Dutuver, Doyaro, Genekinis Jurva, the names are that Decablian to get Chick, just some Natana Korea to Geshe Chirva.
Good afternoon. Today we're going to speak a little bit about how to relate to, how to deal skillfully with the current situation in the world. We find ourselves restricted in our homes. We can't mix with others like we're so used to. We can't go where we want and in the groups that we enjoy, and as well as a number of different changes to our behavior. So today we're going to talk a little bit about these changes and how to deal with them skillfully.
mi mongo shu xia da an di membe ge ni la ga mo che ka che an mi mongo chi lia an ni ka nga ben jo to ne ka nga ni na ze to ne ka nga de ne an ji ge mi shi ne an di ne ka nga chi mongo chi ju yo da.
Due to the pandemic in the world at the moment, the number of results have come from that. So if we consider the pandemic itself as a cause, the results of that have been so many people have lost their lives. And right now in the world there are many in critical situations who are potentially going to die. There are also so many who are ill, perhaps seriously ill, fearing whether they will be able to heal or not. And then, of course, there are their loved ones who have recently lost those that they care for, or who face losing those that they care for. And then, of course, not only has the pandemic impacted so many people in terms of health concerns, but also then the financial concerns that have resulted from this, where people have lost their livelihoods, or who are unemployed, or lost their businesses, or face losing their businesses. And so many who face severe financial concerns, are not sure how they can meet their financial obligations, how they can care for their loved ones. So there's a lot of worry and concern that has resulted from the cause being this pandemic in the world. For all these and the many other worries and concerns and difficulties in the world right now, these are results that have come from a cause, and the primary cause is the pandemic. How then to eliminate the cause of all these problems? Well, if the cause is the pandemic, it's medicine and a vaccination that is required to eradicate the pandemic. Other than something coming from the scientific and the medical community, that is really where the solution needs to come from the scientific and medical communities.
Meshu Punda la soba, the Chanja la soba, Tupchimushu, European Masi, that Roson Shivot Nans in the Chick Denegi, Teriche, Mami Mongo Teriche, Shivorite, Digi, then are the Chanja, the Mami Digi, Garden Mevasua Pandoresne, Maranzugi, Miss big Kampotoshi Tayada, and the Chimusoya la soba, Tesolia, Bishetaya Mado, that Denegi. Negi Natsa Yosaki Kien de Niki Chunjung level, Delia Bishu can have to go marwa.
this pandemic, it's that it spreads throughout our world. It cannot be stopped by weapons. It cannot be stopped by wealth. No matter how wealthy or well physically protected an individual or nation is, they can't protect themselves through wealth and weapons alone from this pandemic. Weapons are very effective for destroying life and destroying what us as a human society have created. But it cannot destroy these tiny particles that construct a virus. These cannot be destroyed by weapons, nor can someone's individual wealth protect one from these tiny particles, from this virus. From the Buddhist perspective, all compounded phenomena, or all impermanent phenomena, being impermanent or compounded, are a coming together of causes that have given rise to a result, and that result immediately changes. They are impermanent. So everything that's compounded or impermanent has come about independent on causes and conditions, and therefore will cease. So whether it's life, whether it's material resources, everything that is compounded or impermanent has come from causes. And when those causes weaken, then that impermanent phenomena, such as life or resources, starts to fade away, disintegrate, and will eventually cease.
아니 기엔디게 차상 좀 여바나 양 제보디 누구디 기 두그리 베스네 대한 내가 기 두비 내봐요 말해 그 뒤수디 딱다 렘바 주고 그래 근데 남시 장모슈 사실 장모도 보이나 아니 지금 내게 사번 여바지 대대야 기엔다 추다 류차사마 답제 답샤베네 야 기리 베스네 기 하고 차고 그래 지상고 그 yar가게 기에게 리티기 공갈에 기 하고 차고 공갈에 기 리티 거라 yar가에 기 하고 차고 지상 유다 기 차상 차면에 그런 기에게 뒤지디야 다다 렘바 주고 버리마도 에 아니 지금 렘바 매바지네 기 투야 차고 말아.
If we then first look at take as an illustration our material world. So let's think of, say, agriculture or our gardens. So we know if we want to plant something, whether it's a crop or something in our gardens, we require a particular seed, the particular seed for the kind of plant or crop that we wish to grow. But we know that a seed alone, or the primary cause alone, will not lead to the required result, the required plant, if that's all we have. So not just the cause, but the required contributing conditions. These are also required to ensure that that seed can ripen into and grow into the desired crop or plant. So for example, the time, the period of time is also important. One needs to plant the respective seed at the correct time of year. If one plants it at the wrong time of the year, then the climate will be wrong. It'll be too hot, or be too cold, or too dry, or too wet. So the time also needs to be correct. And this is one of the contributing conditions that is required for the primary cause to ripen and give rise to the desired result.
지난당에서 사번이 계에 긴 추고 월때 이나 사번이 계에 긴 추라와 좀 이거 말 추디 코로나 계에 tum버치고 거래. 다 추주도스네 추서버지 루샤바나 되는 요리게 사번이 요리게 도 말와 가 추루바래 추라바래. 리네 긴 추서버지 해봤나 콜이야. 안데 긴 코로나 요리게 알아 미tumba 차로 그래. 제가 또 추 장모로 치고 거와 사고면 마치고 그래. 제가 추코마로 루지만 오다 요거 답제 긴 추루에선 추코마로 샤바나 요기에 sable 누거만 제가 출루 말이 되네 요기 두고 말와 제가 되네 이제 코란 긴 지요 때 이내 긴데야 코란이야 긴 튠바지고 그래 미튠비 긴 지래나 아직 긴 여봐 좀 얘기고 말와.
So for a cause to give rise to its respective result, and that's a better way to say it rather than desired result, its respective result, then it requires a number of specific conditions. One being the right time, and secondly, in the illustration of a seed, water is required, moisture is required. But again, these conditions need to be precise. They can't just be rough, they have to be precise. If boiling water is poured onto a seed, that is likely to harm the seed. Or if the water is icy cold, that may too harm the seed. It needs to be the correct amount and the correct temperature. The conditions need to be precise to aid the ripening of the seed, of the cause.
디네 자다가 저기 치용거밖에 알아 사번 요거다 되네게 깨와라 고고이나 되네 고고요 반자 디나신 아주 낭려야 마아줄야 직 동아기야다 인가줄 동아요야 안디기요야 안직 되네게 차상 제수 동아요야 돼 규다 께 뭐부터 초발 되네 용고 그래 대한 기스 깨내야 깨 규다 깨 튜바시고 얼마도 깨다 깨 미딘 바자미 끼고 말해 디나신 대화증 아주 묘와이네야 대화기의 윤규 대단한 튜비견 차상 초가지고 그래서 유단기 ben에 동화기의 유단기 차상 초바이나 동화기 용거로 동화기 뒤부 동화도 용거래 디나신 대화영의 유단기 차상 초되바이나 초바이나 되네 대부 동화 그래서 대화의 용거래 세상 아주 동화당 대화당 차상
And this process is quite easy to understand in the material world, hence this is where we start. For a result to come about, a cause is required, but a cause alone is insufficient to lead to its respective result. It requires specific conditions, and those conditions too need to be complete. They need to be correct and complete. And when you have this, the cause, with all its respective conditions, the result will follow. So this we can understand it through many illustrations in the material world. And it's good to start there because it's easy to understand. But what is of particular importance to us from the Buddhist perspective is the inner world. And the workings of the inner world are the same. From a cause comes a particular result, in dependence on the correct and complete conditions being accumulated as well, or the cause coming into contact with the correct and complete conditions as well. Undesired suffering, all suffering results, unwanted results, come about in dependence on a cause, and that cause having come into contact or met the correct and complete conditions. When that happens, the cause surrounded by or coming into contact with the correct and complete conditions, it results in unwanted situations, in suffering, in pain, in misery. Similarly, with the happiness that we all desire, happiness is a result. It comes about in dependence on a corresponding cause. A specific corresponding cause, just like suffering comes about in dependence on its own specific cause. But having causes for happiness is insufficient to experience the result that is happiness. The causes of happiness need to come into contact with the correct and complete conditions, and then that cause can ripen and mature into the experience of happiness. So therefore the process of the outer and the inner world is the same.
용고로와 지산 동안 요약에 다 견디 수치 거라서나 다 내암되게 제용 내암되게 내지 디 견제 한 저기 동안 요약이 리거로와
되네 내암되 디 견에
견제
디 규모마 사기기
유녀만 아주 동안 요약이 규디 녀만에 사샤가 절로하다
And then the drebude
낮에 가서 동안요에 동안으로 와다 동안요에 대보책으로 와 디자디 동안요에 얘기디 다 내내 동안요에 되기 동안요에 대한 규단긴 망보지요마도 고구레마도 유치고 여바 점비 kiến 마테나 동안용 말에 유디메나 kiến 체베나 동안용 말에 제선다 내암 세디 다디 내암디 아주 동안용에게 kiến 차고 마도 용원이라도 차고 말했습니다.
Now returning then to the topic at hand, dealing with the suffering that is being experienced due to the pandemic in the world. So if someone, for example, is slightly or gravely ill, then that is a suffering experience. So this is a result. Their illness and their suffering is a result. This result came from a cause which met its correct and complete conditions, and therefore the cause could ripen into the suffering experience of illness. So the cause was contaminated karma that had been accumulated, that the person had accumulated in a previous life. That is the root cause, negative or contaminated karma that had previously been accumulated. It then met the required conditions, such as in general we could say the pandemic itself, and this pandemic then was the conditions required to ripen this particular cause, and now suffering is experienced, the suffering of illness.
그래서 나가로 저기 인비교 김제로 가르치고 그랬으네. 대변에 내염지 여변에 내염디 여바점지 누가 용투그룹에서 용그룹에서네 내바스카요 말와. 내염 내바점지 아주 누가 녀에게 내바요 말와. 땡땡요 말와. 내염 레베네 내염 요소기 긴 내염 레베네 근데 내염을 무슨 행동을 봐 자르되는 행동들은 내는 리그어서 리그어 말와 거기서 규요 말와 긴지 리그어와 당하나들에 긴지 태반에 연구를 해야 돼 당하나들에 나지게 와라 내염의 수고고도 레고도와 대바스미 지금도 하나 저기 수비 풍부 사직이 내말 사직 레기 방법이 아주 풍부도 매바이나 풍부도 매바이나 되는 게 내염들이나 레베 긴지 레베네 나저요 말와 세상 알아주기 녀만 알아주 풍보디 가르서 녀만 레나 녀만 온게 주의 풍보 차대로와 세상 풍보 디코라 녀만 레기 온게 주의 풍보래 세상 풍보 될라 긴 안내암디 출래요도 내기다 제도 수주요도 될야 안다 풍보들이야 괜단 거로 괜쇼거로와
for this ripening condition, which is the pandemic, to be able to be part of the process that leads to the result of the suffering of illness, requires a cause, such as previously accumulated contaminated aggregates, contaminated karma, and also, though, requires the causes that have led to a person having aggregates which are contaminated themselves, physical and mental aggregates which are contaminated. If someone does not have contaminated aggregates, the pandemic will not lead to the ripening of any negative karma, and they will therefore not experience the suffering of illness. Whereas ourselves, our aggregates, our physical and mental aggregates, these are contaminated, that come about independent on contaminated karma that we've accumulated in the past, and therefore we are susceptible to the impact of the pandemic. We are susceptible to the condition, which is the pandemic, being a condition that will facilitate the ripening of previously accumulated negative karma, giving rise to the result of illness. So therefore, a further crucial component is not just that there's previously accumulated negative karma and the condition of the pandemic, but also that one has contaminated mental and physical aggregates as well.
풍보데라 안에 내염게 제데 주 풍보디나라 주용도 안에 풍보디라 괜지고로 풍보를 괜지고래 풍보를 괜지야도 안에 같이 걸어서는 마음속에 소화 동화의 기용으로 소화 동화의 기고로 와다 니니디 내염데다 순화주 풍보이데 체제 안에 체바자 맞에 내염디 풍보디라 괜지도 너버지야도 안에 마음속에 같이 걸어서는 So
therefore this is a crucial component that one has contaminated aggregates. Contaminated aggregates have come about independent on the accumulation of contaminated karma, which itself came about independent on the afflicted minds, acting under the influence of the afflicted minds. Then contaminated karma was accumulated, and this ripens in contaminated aggregates, physical and mental aggregates. And this serves as the basis upon which we experience suffering. Having achieved these, attained these contaminated physical and mental aggregates, and having a large store of negative karma, when that negative karma meets the condition, which is the pandemic, it can ripen within our contaminated aggregates, and then we experience suffering. We experience suffering then through the ripening of this feeling of suffering, and that is how we experience the suffering of illness. So there's this whole chain that is required in order to experience the result of illness. The negative karma, karmic imprint, contaminated aggregates, the condition that is the pandemic, and therefore we can experience the ripening of the suffering feeling, which is illness, our experience of illness.
nemgi ze de dang pungbo ni che che dinigi chowa dunga de ngo gyuwa rebesne digi chowa dunga de ngo gyuyo mare dini genje ne chowa dunga de gebar chigore gebar jeba de chowa dunga de ge de dang dunga nyonggu du gang du se gang de chowa dunga de wa 지금 chowa de ko shebare 지금 chowa dunga de 지금 koron yoegi koron ge gyu sabon nubade gawayo sa nga chugi number sheba shibi nanglo la number shege tian ya nubade yore ko chowa dunga ge nubade ko yore bare 지금 chowa gyu dunga ge nubade da chowa dunga de yungone de dire nubade yungone de chowa dunga ge nubade chowa dunga de gyure 지금 nubade su seje chowa dunga yoyagi yoyale genlo su ji go sene nem ge ze de lule shu luda ludi le 나제 류들이야 처란 괜쇼야도 너바치야도 디니 gen진된 소동하기 사본디 니바츠 민제 소동하요 뭐지 뭐래
데네디 타마데 양케ken
소동하기에 니바디 소동하디게 사본 규디레스 디가 와요서 넘버십에 되도 요레스 남시에도 요레스 제자디 니바디 규 니바디 수 소동하요 뭐 주야 제주게 수기 gen수지거서는 nem기 제디 아주 수볼 주 수볼에 뇌어도 디기 gen체네 다 수볼 뇌도 수볼의 철라던 거로 철라당도 대용도 디기 gen체네 되는 소동화 추기요 하지 제가 될이야 가르고 보세요 소 기용타리 되는 시험을 했다는 소리 동아 용타리 같이 시험을 되는 연구를 했잖아
the mere presence of the condition of the pandemic, as well as having having contaminated aggregates, those two alone do not lead to this experience of suffering. One isn't necessarily suffering if one has contaminated aggregates and the pandemic is surrounding oneself. There needs to be a further step, and that is because suffering is a feeling, so it's consciousness. That consciousness is impermanent. It needs to therefore ripen from a cause. And that cause then is found on our mental continuum. In other words, the potency that can ripen into the feeling of suffering abides on our mental continuum, or is found on, abides on our mental continuum. That, it's a ripening of that potency on our mental continuum that leads to the experience of suffering, the feeling of suffering. For that to ripen, we need to have, we would have contaminated mental aggregates, that's where it abides, and we need to come into contact with the pandemic. So, to be very precise, our experience of the suffering our experience of suffering is the feeling of suffering, which is consciousness. Consciousness then is a ripening of a potency which abides on our mental continuum. And this is ripened through the coming together of conditions, such as encountering the pandemic.
남시 셰비티 때도 소와 동하기 얘기 뉴버디 매바이나 뉴버디 매바이나 안도수 볼 때려야 하는 지게 되니기 안지게 내암대시 때려 수볼 뉴베네 소와 동하기 기 말와 기도해요 말에 기 말가서는 기에게 뉴버 코론 소와 동하기 얘기 뉴버 코론 매바자 사본 코론 매바자 기인지여 바네 하는 기요 말에 다 되네 가지고 소와 동하기 얘기 뉴버로 지금 뉴버지 여바이나야 다대기 되네기 수불의 뇌비게 수불의 뇌비 기인지 가 수부들의 뇌버지게 기인지 매바나 마체바이나 야소와 동하기 말에 제가 유 동하기의 뇌버 유여바 잠기 기인 동하기 두고를 쓰면 기 두고 말될 기인지 채고 거래 다 기인지다 동하기 기인지 채바이나 동하기를 봐서는 한디에 기가 말될 동하기의 뇌버로 매바이나 한 기인 채바이나 동하기 말이지.
So, therefore, it's imperative that in order to experiencing the feeling of suffering, one has to have the potency on one's continuum that can ripen into the suffering experience, the feeling of suffering. If one lacks this, one cannot experience suffering. So it's important to be clear that there are many components here, all of which are required for one to suffer. There needs to be the cause, the required conditions, as well as this potency on one's continuum. If any of these are missing, if one lacks the cause, doesn't meet the conditions, or lacks this potency on one's continuum, there will not be a result of suffering.
장수심바 파발이야 아주 류리야 천주바이나 천루 지루 가반된 마수바이 제제바이네 동아이게 나도 동아이게 오마라 그래서 동아이게 세븐 뉴바디 메르와 메시 메바르와 그래서 아니 풍부 코로나야 아니마 사지 레기 오미 개와 반 lem바지기 레요 말에 시자는 인상 델레 기인지 태베네 동아이게 오마라.
So, for example, an Arya Bodhisattva, should their physical body be slashed or a limb amputated, they won't experience any physical illness or suffering because they lack the seed on their continuum for suffering. There is no potency to ripen any negative karma for them to experience suffering. So this is the case for an Arya Bodhisattva.
요르데 다된 아주 동아마게 디가선 기인지 쳐요 말해. 지나데 들려 슈디 가블야 동아게요 말해. 있는 거 저기 동아게 기인지 마쳐 봐인자 아니 동아데 마게 봐. 기에 규요르데 이네 동아마게 봐래. 지상 기인지 될량 아주 삽다가 잠자지 슈베네 람상 아니 양 갑주 직주 샤바이나 람상 안디신데 동아게요로 와. 지상 기인지 쳐요도 동아게요로. 기인지 마쳐나 동아게 규요바나야 사본도요 바나야 and the Dunga Kigo marriage.
Not being Arya Bodhisattvas, our position is somewhat different. So if we're sitting somewhere quietly, relaxing, quite peaceful, we can be certain, though, that on our continuum there is the potency to suffer abides. But if we don't come into contact with a full and complete conditions that are required for that potency to ripen, we're not going to be suffering. We will be suffering will not be manifest within us. We will just be sitting there quietly, relaxing. However, as soon as those conditions, we do encounter those conditions, that potency will ripen and our situation will change and we will no longer be sitting there quietly, peacefully, but now we will be experiencing suffering.
Dini zada donda alangi garla gorasine ngaron zulya ane dungo nyoe dina shinga zu dewa rupchi ne dagarwa dewa nyoe jinga zu nyuba juyor che kinji matina dewa nyungyo marwa pena ngaron zu dewa nyoe ki chige dewa nyoe pena ngaron zu namshi changsi kang changmo debi kabla ngaron zu chi kyabi ki dunga nyong juyor pe kyabi karwa china ngaron zu dewa chue ki dewa nyoye dung sabun shuyor de kienchi ma theba che ani ma nyong re china kienchi che che de ya ani nga zu ge chue ni ma chu sha chi ne ni mi ge chue de chu le de ni mi chue de nga su bu po de de ya nga zu ya su bu chue le po de de ni mi chue de ki su bu ya pen go ro wa pen yo de ne pen yo de ani nga zu lam sa cho ya yang ji de la la chi ge chue ki ji yo de yang zhang wi 네 동화 파시네 소와 대화시키 거로 제산 디니기 대화기야디 소와 대화기야디야 디사번딩아 주 대화기에게 사번딩아 주 요르데 이네 기 마체 바인자 대화 용거 마 제산 디니기 기인지 채어도 데 사번기 대부디 민제네 아주 대부 대화디 용거 제산 디니에서 대화 세야디 이나라 개화대야 개비기 소와 대화기야디 사번 주여 바이네 기인지 채고 기인지 마체나 대화 초와 대화 용 말에 용토 말에 한 기인지 처바이나 초와 대화 용 유사본데 매바이나 아니 양디 대화 용토 말 세상에서 대위기 대화 용어야 되라야 유사본다 대래게 긴 니가 차상 초고 그래 누가 용어야 되라야 누가 용어에게 사변다 아니 디 기인지 차상 초고 그래 차상 점묘도 아니 용부 차상 점묘도 가서 농아기에다 안 대원용아기야디 대원용아디 디차고로
To summarize this, we can actually, to summarize this, we can look at the opposite situation. Because we're focused now on suffering, let's talk about what we do want, and that is happiness. So happiness is a feeling, it's a consciousness, and therefore it's impermanent, comes about independent on causes. So to experience the result that is a feeling of happiness, one requires the cause for happiness. One requires a cause for happiness. But not only a cause, or that cause for it to ripen needs to meet full and complete conditions. So again, we'll take the external world, it's easy to understand. If it's cold weather like it is today, and we're shivering a little bit, so we're experiencing the suffering feeling, the feeling of suffering. But as soon as we feel warm sunlight on our skin, then our body starts to warm up, and we experience no longer the feeling of suffering, but the feeling of pleasure or the feeling of happiness. So what we have here is the potency or the cause for happiness on our continuum, but that merely abiding on our continuum doesn't mean we are experiencing happiness, because now we're cold. But as soon as we meet the required conditions, warm sunlight, that potency then can ripen, the cause can ripen because it's met the required conditions, and now our experience is transformed. We're now experiencing pleasure or happiness. So this process is the same, whether the result is unwanted suffering or desired happiness. We require a seed and conditions. If either are missing, the result will not come about. If we meet particular conditions but lack the seed, no result. If you have the seed but don't meet the conditions, no result. So we need both the seed and the conditions for the result of either happiness or suffering to come about.
지상 돈다라 당이 가르치 고르시나 마즈게 동어녀야 뇽고에기 귀디 마즈 녀만이야 사사와레스 지상 데니 규규사 사르시앙 주기라 동어기에기 유 니버디 마즈게 남시테도 마즈 심기간이야 남시테도 예요바레지리다 지상다 내가 genji 체나 genji 튜베 genji 체소나 데네고 동아디 뇽무리스 gen지 마테나 동아 연구가 말했어. 세상에도 동아녀의 귀디 아주 개왕 니엘은 아주 사사와레스 아주 요래서 월다 더드는 게 해야 돼.
To present it again, just to make sure it's clear. We already, on our continuum, have a vast store of previously accumulated imprints, these potencies. So these we already have. For them, though, to ripen, they have to meet the required conditions. And as soon as the required conditions are encountered or are met, the result ripens. So we all already on our continuum have many potencies that have the potential, or seeds that have the potential to ripen into unwanted suffering. And the reason are not all ripening right now is because despite having these seeds, we have not met the required conditions. But as soon as we do, that potency will ripen into the experience of suffering, the feeling of suffering.
데니 인자 땅에 갈라 워스네 제상 아주를 동안 용어고 용고에 귀도 요르데 이내 찐다데 아주게 내임 찐디 아주를야 마체연 졸려야 아니 찐 디지는 아주 동아디 용고가 말했어 동안 용 내임디 찐디 아주를 내임 마호건 지어와 마호건 디게라 내임디기 찐 제제 찐디 아주를 마포바 인상 안디 토네 아주야 동아디 용고가 말하지 나고 동아 소와 동아 용고 말와 나 내암디기 찐디 룰라 포간절이야 아니 디기 찐 제제 안데고 대부디 동아 소와 동아디 용고를 와다 지사디 디레다.
So therefore, whether one is afflicted by the illness of this pandemic depends on whether the cause on one's continuum and the condition of the pandemic, these two have come together or not. If someone has if someone has on their continuum these imprints, these potencies, if they encounter the condition of the pandemic, it will ripen, they'll be ill. But if either of those are missing, encountering or meeting the condition of the pandemic, coming into contact, in other words, with the virus, or if the potency is lacking from one's continuum, one will not become ill. So these are, in order to experience the illness, one needs to encounter the condition, which is the virus, as well as have the relevant seed on one's continuum. If either of those are missing, the result will not be experienced.
안디네 자당 아주길라 되게 동안여에게 귀디 여반사 다 되게 겐지 마체들라 땅 아주게 치토네다데 지 멤버서다 안데 자세 캐바적이 진리가 저기 롭된 제가 나신 진행 아주리아 디 마포기도 나라 안데 수행제 되야다 안데 가까비야다 라보트야다 안지 간정마주 말아 제디 아주게 겐데 마체에게 원고로시데 디야 각동로지 디지고로 와다.
As ordinary beings, we almost certainly will have the causes to suffer in this way on our continuum. So we would have, in past lives, accumulated the causes that can ripen in the suffering of this illness. But to prevent those previously accumulated causes from ripening, we need to ensure we do not meet the ripening conditions. In other words, we ensure we do not come into contact with the virus. Because if we don't encounter or meet the ripening conditions, then the potencies on our continuum will not be able to ripen. So therefore, we are advised by the scientific and medical experts in our governments not to socially isolate, to wash our hands, not touch our faces and so forth, so as not to encounter the virus, and then to express it in Buddhist terms, and thereby not encounter the ripening conditions which will ripen our previously accumulated negative imprints.
Lapje digi jesu chang chang ang zu la len ta yo du di kin la len ta wa le ten ne ne ya ma pho kan be ma bo ju yo wa da ma bo yo wa da ne ya ma pho ba ma bo yo wa ane de shi ne de pho ba yin na yang de ne ge men jue de ne an de ne de chu do ya da ji de ne de che wa se de pa sap sap che gi yi kin de ji tablam ro ji de yo du digi an nyam len la len ta wa le ten ne yang zha ba ya ma bo yong gu wa ne de le kin ji pho ba ne de le zha ba ma bo当然是同学自己个也对了吧。
With this understanding, then we can have with this understanding, we can better understand then the situation in the world right now. That when the causes that abide in one's continuum meet the ripening conditions of the virus, then one becomes ill. Depending on the strength of the conditions and the strength of the cause that has been, the potency that has ripened, will have an impact on the result that will come about, as well, of course, as other conditions such as the physical strength of the patient, as well as other conditions such as the medical treatment they are or are not able to receive. And therefore, in dependence on this mixture of a cause, the potency that has been on the continuum of the patient that has been ripened, and the variety of conditions, such as meeting the virus, the condition that is their physical health, their underlying conditions at the time, the medical treatment that they receive or do not receive, and so forth. They either heal or they suffer under this illness for a prolonged period, or possibly even pass away. So this then is the interplay of a cause and a variety of ripening conditions that lead to the varying results.
Tang azo le dunga nyoya ge nalo le sim nalo le dunga nyoya ge nuba ding azo ke le ye ba sabon de ye ba re da di sabon de ye ba di nuba chung ta ya da me ba so ya la ane gar che go re se ne di gi taplam dal lab je de su ye go re se ne san ye jum ne di gi sun go ro da ji san ye jum ne di gar sun go re se ne ge ho du go re che de ge wa che go re se ji san dunga ge ge gyu 규디 수수고래라는 누바도 수수고래라는 녀모바 세디기 기어디 디기 동아기에 누바 수고래 샤고 녀모바 되샤셰다 디모 콘도 녀모세 저러와 녀모바 귤레기디 녀모바디기 마즈귤라 아니 가서 녀 마오바나 동아기에 누바도 코수고래 사본 디기 수고다 디샤고래 녀마기 되는 누바여나 동아녀 누바여나 녀모바 기어도 디기 누바도 슉처럼 거래. 제가 베네 예마 추디어스마도 추디어스여나 디가리아 제 차바점나 추디 슉처럼 차기로 와. 제가 아주님아 누가 녀야기 누바로 지여바 총총 지여바네. 당하나 주기는 녀모바 기여바이나 녀모바 디기엔지는 디가리아 안 누바 녀모 동아기 누바디 nemba capce dunga ki nubadi ma shuk char char so wa chisa dang han zu gyule dunga ki nubadi shuk ma shuk chon chon zya de kar so wa sanna dang han zu gi ya ani gewa tu go res nyomo be to cho gewa de tu go res de gewa du ba ina an gewa de gi kar ji wa sne gewa de gi dewa ki ma ba ne dewa nyoya ki nuba shu go re je nuba sha go re chisa 디기 개와가지 숙치에 쇠투베네 냠네 제투바이나 아 저기 아규라 아니 대원여야기 뉴버티 숙치에 쇠고래지래 디산이 좀네 되기마 당한줄이야 롭된 당한줄이야 누가기에기 뉴버 여바디 매바 소산데라 데니 쇠고래세는 랍된 거로다.
So in our world, there are many highly trained and skilled medical practitioners and research scientists who are able to care for those afflicted by illness. And it's, we have great hope that should ourselves or our loved ones or anyone become ill, that these skilled medical practitioners will be able to care for them well, and scientists will be able to come up with further medical procedures and treatments that can aid this process. So there we can look with appreciation for what is being done in the world. But where we need to look in terms of how to eliminate the causes that will lead to suffering in its first place, there we looking towards science and medical practitioners is not where we're going to find the answers. There we need to look at the most skilled of doctors, Buddha Shakyamuni. It was him who taught what are the causes and conditions that lead to suffering, as well as how to reduce their strength and even eliminate them entirely. Buddha Shakyamuni alone taught this. And what he taught, the techniques he taught in brief, was accumulate virtue. If we express it just in the briefest way, the technique is accumulate virtue. So all of us on our continuum, we have huge stores of potencies that can ripen in suffering. Those potencies came about in dependence on our afflicted minds. In dependence on the strength as well as the frequency of our afflicted minds, we have potencies that will ripen in suffering, potencies of a variety of strength and magnitude. And that strength or that magnitude is dependent on the strength and frequency of the afflicted minds that led to the potencies that have the potential to ripen in suffering being placed on our continuum. The stronger these potencies are in our continuum, the more likely we are to suffer, the more readily suffering will be encountered. But knowing this is important because it also shows that those potencies, if they are weaker, then when they ripen, the suffering will be weaker and be less frequent. And how then are weaker potencies placed on our continuum? They come from weaker afflicted minds, less frequent afflicted minds. So this is important to recognize. And then the companion to this, if this is the process of non-virtue, afflicted minds leading to the potencies for suffering placed on our continuum, this then too is the case for the contrary minds, virtuous minds. The stronger and more frequent our virtuous minds are, the stronger and of greater magnitude our potencies for happiness are on our continuum. Recognizing that, then, it's clear that we need to apply ourselves to the techniques that the Buddha taught. Accumulate virtue. Through accumulating virtue, which means having virtuous minds, we accumulate the potencies that will ripen in happiness. And they serve to weaken and reduce in strength the potencies that will otherwise ripen in suffering.
직kon이 기내 미팅 바체 거 직축처를 직뉴바처를 직뉴바처를 직뉴바충줘야 되고 랑신기 되는 차되고 어디 나시 나도 디바셔야 되다 개와셔야 니디 다 디바단 개와셔야 돼 나도 삼로 돈에 주고 거래 삼로 돈에 주마다시 치료그 돈을 줘야 매래 지난 삼로 다이들이 제 삼로 다이데 개위 삼로데 가지 슈처 다베네 디베 삼로 마 슈충충 주고래 디베 삼로도 슈처 가지 슈처 좀 망아 슈처 뉴베처 주고나 먼저 개위 삼로도 슈충 주고와 되는 현상 아 저기 개위 삼로데 가지 슈처 다베네 아니 개위기 마음반에 대화기에게 사번디에 뉴버디 슈처 주고래 지난 대화기에게 뉴버디 삼로 가지 슈처 뉴버디 슈처 줘봐이나 동화기에게 뉴버디 마 슈충 주고와 지난 되는 현상 당한 저기 동화기에게 뉴버디 매바 쇠알라 먼저 개주 주고 그래서 월다 개월 주고 그래 디버디 파빵고 그래서 디버 빵 파빵 아니 개월 디 제디 저기 저기라 마음반에 동화녀에게 규 사버디 마 뉴버충 따야디 개주 주게 되레스 당한 마음반에 대화녀에게 영향이 규 뉴버처 따야디야 개월 주게 지상 개월 주가 있나 마음반에 대화녀에게 아니 규디 뉴버디 슈처 줘야다 동화녀에게 뉴버디 마충 줘 채고레스 지상 디니 인자 마음 주길라 동화 영역이 뉴버여라 개화 뉴버니가 요 디기 영역이 대화 영역이 뉴버여라 동화 영역이 뉴버여레스 이나다 딩이데 가래 슈처 땅와야디 먼저 대화 영역이 뉴버디 뉴버 슈처 땅고레스 동화 영역이 뉴버디 마 슈충 땅고레스 제가 동화 영역이 뉴버디 슈충 땅야라 그 동화기에게 규 레단 가서라고 녀모 가서래요 디버디 마 빵고 그래 고숨이 디바 빵고 그래 마 잼빵 송고 그래서 지나다 아주 개회 자와디 슈처 땅 그래 삼로다 배지 슈처 땅으로 슈처 땅 와있나 되니 저기 대화녀에게 뉴버디 슈처 주고 그래서 동화녀에 뉴버디 슈처 중 땅 두고 그래서 두스 땅고 그래서 그러다
The easiest way to understand this is to think about temperature. So when it's a little warm, then we can maybe just open the window and we'll cool down. If it's really hot, that's insufficient. We need to do something more. We need to turn on the air conditioning. Likewise with cold. If it's a little cold, well, we can put on another layer and that will solve the problem. When it's colder, we need to turn on the heater. And when it's really cold, we need to turn on the heater and wear a blanket. So what we're seeing here is that the stronger something is in one direction, the greater effort we need to apply to overcome it. And this is exactly the same as the process that we're talking about here. The more effort one puts into accumulating virtue, the weaker the contrary minds of non-virtue will be. So in our inner world, our way of thinking can be more inclined towards virtuous ways of thinking or non-virtuous ways of thinking. The stronger we cultivate virtuous minds, in other words, the more habituated we are to a virtuous way of thinking, that is what we all become naturally inclined to. This means not only are we experiencing more happiness because it's virtue that tends to dominate us, but it serves to ensure that it's less likely non-virtue will ripen, and the non-virtue that we already have on our continuum, that will naturally start to weaken, and furthermore, we will be much less inclined to accumulate further non-virtue. So therefore, one is encouraged here to put our energy into developing virtuous minds, positive minds, because we have the imprint or the potencies of both on our continuum. Whichever dominates our way of thinking, whichever ripens more spontaneously and readily in a variety of circumstances, tends to be what we're more habituated to. So knowing this gives us some power, because we can do something about our situation. We can focus on ensuring our minds are virtuous, thereby our physical and verbal behaviors are virtuous, developing our habituation to virtue, weakening thereby our habituation to non-virtue, weakening the strength of the potencies of non-virtue on our continuum, meaning it's much less likely suffering will ripen, or when it does, it will be weaker and will not abide for lengthy periods. So therefore, it's imperative we turn ourselves to virtue, cultivating minds of virtue.
Dine zada dandala ngā rāngzu ki dunga nyōya ki sabon di nipa chōng dāya la ngā rāngzu kēchū chūpukuri ya sēchō sōng didi rē dā dandala dā kēchū kanis chūpukuri ya sēya di ngā rāngzu ki dā jidāng kēchū chūptāng la rinpa māngu yung urwa dā bēn ngā rāngzu ki lū ngā yīsum yu kone xiān la nipa sawa di jīgmē sāmbē ki sōngya di tsurim sōngya chakore tsurim sōngya dā di nipa jīgmē sāmbē samlo di ngā rāngzu ki yāne yāngdo dāya di gyawa tsurim sōngya chakore gyawa chakore and 돈에 지금 저기 루유고네 아니 야 차세와다 아니 저기 건조려야 이 저기 제법 연자 부여하다 차세와 부여봐 되네 아니 저기 나는 봐 저기 가서리 지금 제 만이당 되네기 장바 되네 제바이나 아니 나고네 개와사바다 아니 나가 심유고네 야 건조려 대바제하다 아니 저기 semjen limipi jambata zewa sam gomba ina ne nga yi yu ne kya wa sa gorwa jina dene ge jene nga ju ki chu chu ko de disorwa.
Wanting to experience only happiness, to be freed from suffering, then from what's been presented, it's clear we need to apply ourselves to virtue, to accumulate virtuous imprints on our continuum, become habituated to this way of thinking and behaving. And doing so will ensure that through an abundance of powerful seeds of happiness, it is happiness that we will experience then. And the accumulation of virtue is done through our body, our speech, and primarily our mind, our way of thinking. First, then, we think of ethical restraint, which is the commitment to not harm others through our way of physically behaving, our verbal communication, or even our way of thinking. So the mind of ethical restraint is a mind that restrains itself from going in a direction of harm, and this is expressed then, not only mentally but also physically. For example, through making prostrations, offerings of water bowls. It's also expressed verbally, such as through reciting mantras or prayers. And it's cultivated through study and reflection on topics such as love and compassion. And in this way, one accumulates vast stores of virtue.
that assembly dinalia jinegi do sin kien jin ane chi tang ha zu mi da ba sia da gyu da kien le jin de dia wa de ji san ni po pe ki mi mong bu chung go de cha san gyu da kien de ne tin ju wa de sam de shi sam da da gyu da kien de chu ni kon zo le ne na zu nyong wa be ma se gang a shu yo de du ning je sem be ki ni je ko mya sem je tham je ane de ne ki 내암디 기엔지네 동아 나자 뇽도 견디게 안닝제 다 나즈들 요고지 타나 삼비기 삼다 타워쇼 삼제 잠바데 니제 삼당 고미야디 곰바이나 잠니지 고미야디 베마시 기치 못 차고래 니니지 고미야리 안디 멤베게다 나즈 디 멤바 다 나즈 샹야 나즈 샹 멍부게 기엔지네 내 나즈 멍부 요겐 멍부 여러 지자 되네 인자 차사 되네게 다 점리 나라이 미당 셈제 간데시네 안 지금 네 나제 기엔지네 안에 동안 용고야 당 나셈 마기와 차진 되는 동안 용고다 차세 동안단 자와쇼 삼제 야데슬이야 니지 고미야디 도스제네 삼당바이나 안에 아 저기 도스제네 개와 기술주고 그러봐 개와 또 침무사 거래.
Hopefully now it's very clear the need to accumulate vast stores of virtue. And now we have an opportunity to do so because our movements are so restricted. All these activities that have kept us so busy, we now largely cannot engage in many of these because we are confined to our homes. So we use this opportunity now to reflect on the wide varieties of sufferings that beings are experiencing. What's most apparent, and the topic of this talk, is the sufferings from the pandemic, both through of death, of illness, and of financial worries. And we can use these as a useless suffering that so many beings are experiencing right now as a cause for us to accumulate huge stores of virtue. Generating compassion for the suffering that beings are experiencing, generating love for them, wanting them to be freed of the suffering and experience only happiness, in particular lasting, stable happiness. Reflecting on the suffering that we know others are experiencing, naturally the thought will come, may they be freed of the suffering, may they heal, may they quickly heal, may their financial woes be overcome. Moreover, with this awareness that these impermanent situations have come about independent on causes and conditions, may beings no longer accumulate such causes, may they no longer encounter ripening conditions. Rather, may beings only accumulate causes that lead to happiness and encounter the conditions that ripen those causes. And we can reflect on this in terms of the pandemic, but also all the other variety of sufferings in the world that not only humans but animals too are experiencing. And in this way, generating love and compassion for those that we know and are unknown to us, we can generate vast stores of virtue.
비망고 시간 망고 치기 연구를 전부는 난 빼마스 망고 연구를 대대서 인제 선배기 되니기 이제 거미하다 안 되니기 건축기와 치마들이야 개와 상부 중앙을 쇼서 지피지 진행한 저기 개와 안내 된주기 밀리지 뭐지 터야다 개와 안 개와 치마들이야 안냐지 샘 지 상부제 전수 샘 냠는 제야 안 지기 죄 냠는 제야기 안 미상부 차야기 디용을 쇼서 비기 몰람 잡쟁한 저기 되니기 delya ninje dang du komya dang denigi ani kya wasam bu yong sho sibigi malam ja da denigi ye che chimo chagarwa.
In the same meditation we reflect that so many beings have already died, others are going to soon pass. And so these beings have either entered are in the process of, or either about to enter the process of taking a new rebirth, or are within that process. And here we can, in our meditation, express the strong aspiration. May all beings, without exception, only achieve good rebirth. May they achieve, in fact, the very best of rebirths. Not just a human rebirth, but a precious human rebirth. A rebirth where they come under the direct care of a Mahayana spiritual teacher, they recognize him as such, have great interest in the Buddha Dharma, train themselves in the cultivation of the Buddha Dharma, living their life under the influence of a kind heart, a gentle heart. And in this way, may they experience happiness, may they bring happiness into the lives of others, may the world become a better place. In this way too, we generate strong aspiration for others to be freed of pain, to be freed of suffering, but experience lasting, stable happiness.
denigi jamje samda denigi jamje samda ne simje tamje ta dunga da jawa sho se de simje de dunga da jaje nem dige ba zemblingi nem dige shi de simje dige juwa sho samda samda ja simje tamje dunga dige nyomo sho dunga de tawa sho sambe samda den simje dige chele de ba dige an de shi shebana ne mo ba na kiwa sambo ju len tu ba sho samda denigi thona di chedo ngi an da diri ya ane konjolya cheo puya da ane meni dige sagin samje di donda langi meni sagu samje ya ane ji paba chende silya so tapche ma 저기 meni kaje sa tu tu dinige sam ta sha sa ba ina ta nga zo de de be kala lega chendai medu ane du su ki ya da dinige tholya ane nga zo du su yo ba za meni ro sa ya so su ge da meni re di membe ge da so so rangi de jige kadu da ane jinga sa ya kar yo be na dinige Geshe sa tu ba na ane ya bo yo wa.
So in our meditation, we generate strong wish for beings to be freed of suffering, both on a temporary level, but also to progress to a state where they're completely liberated from suffering in its entirety. We make this aspiration for those who have passed from this life and are progressing to or have achieved the next rebirth, for those who are facing imminent death, and those who remain, their loved ones who remain behind, or those who are suffering due to financial woe. We generate the aspiration May all these obstacles be overcome. In particular, may all beings, whether they have passed, will pass soon, or there's still time in this life, may each and every future rebirth only be a good rebirth, a rebirth under the direct care and influence and guidance of a Mahayana spiritual teacher. Having generated this motivation within ourselves, we then can perhaps set up some offerings. We can, and certainly, having visualized generously before us, now we can recite the Mani Mantra or Mani Padme Hum. And these days we have some more time on our hands than we usually do. We have less activities that consume our time. So whatever number of mantras we can recite, we should do so. But recite them, though, under the influence of this motivation of love for others, of compassion for others. And in this way, we can use this opportunity that has unexpectedly come away, this opportunity of less busyness, to accumulate vast stores of mantra, or vast numbers of mantra, but in particular, accumulating them under the influence of the minds of love and compassion that we have generated in this way.
Dina Shin Dang Arzu Simjan Tam Jayada Zambling Niam Shiada Simjing Dua de Chau, which is Nadi Jayang Tapchi Sambiki Samataje, the Zang Simjan Tam Jigutuna, Sanya Govan Tower Chigi, Sanya Govan Tower Show, some Janga to Janju Sim, the nigger some Daji did some Diana Yado, some Daji, Zichi to Hanzu Delia, Misha Simjatam Sanya Govan Tower Show, Sampe some Tam Combiner, and Janju Sim Comba, said Chagorva.
In this motivation that I've briefly outlined, we develop further in the ways that have been presented many times in the past, generating bodhicitta, which is where we make the commitment to strive in our practice, such as now, this meditation with the recitation of the Mani Mantra, to accumulate virtue so that we can quickly become a Buddha. And become a Buddha so that we can become the most skilled of guides, a guide who can lead others skillfully away from the accumulation of causes for suffering, but rather guide them skillfully to the accumulation of causes for happiness. So we engage in this practice now for the sake of all sentient beings without exception, seeing that this is our contribution to all those who are both known as well as those who are unknown to us. This is our contribution to ease them from suffering, guide them to happiness.
Dine Zadang Diniki Nalaya Duty Picabla, Dusine, Simja Jam Nija Comia, and Zembling Niam Shiagi Donda, and Jam Nija Comia, and the Jigichachu Sem Comia, and then Anzuki Menela Sopanga, Tangaya, Dine Gazi, Jema, Jetuaina, and Jetuaina, Dadondala, Sosolia, Gejo Shukchimosatu Ware, Sosol Gejo Saradu, and the Sosolia. Simgin Gando, and the Kevigi Bacha, the Nuba Shuk Church Shadu, Mahomban and Devanyoyagi, nobody shook Chagore, the Dungoyagi, nobody shook Chunsu Chagore. Chisantinigi, Shianlia, Jamze, and Nije, and Janju Sim Yamnanjata, the Nigo control at Debachi Changanzuki, Ma Menitala Sofa, the Nigi Chibi, the Nichi Kabla, Manzulia, Shianlia, Konradang, and Dibi some of the Kogumare, Dibi some of the Makidu, Diba some of the Kiadiba, Jangun Chagore, Chisan Chagadu, Dibi, Yamagi Diba. Dunganyoya, nobody by Shuk Chon Joyada, and the negative Dunganyoya, nobody, Yakin number Machiwale, Pinguare.
This then is a skillful way to utilizing the pandemic in the world and all the resulting suffering as a basis for our meditation on love and compassion. And having generated love and compassion, we then accumulate ever more virtue through the recitation of the Mani Mantra under the influence, or whilst having this motivation of love and compassion manifest within us. And the more mantras we recite whilst under the influence of this motivation, the greater the store of virtue it is that we will accumulate. And if we tie this back now to what we looked at the beginning of the talk, the impact is that we will be placing ever more powerful imprints of virtue on our continuum. a greater store of virtue on our continuum, which means we have ever greater imprints that will ripen in happiness in the future. So that is one immediate outcome that we are accumulating, the causes for happiness in the future. And in conjunction with this, as a natural byproduct, is as we increase this vast store of virtue within us, it serves to weaken our previously accumulated negative imprints. As our virtue grows, proportionately, our previously accumulated non-virtue weakens, meaning it's much less likely it will ripen, which means we're less likely to get angry or frustrated, annoyed, or desirous or jealous. Moreover, should those imprints ripen, because they have been weakened so, they won't be powerful, nor will they abide for long, remain for long. So these are some of the great benefits that will come from engaging in this meditation, increasing our virtue, weakening our non-virtue, being happier now, having less suffering now, and certainly in our future lives, our spiritual progression will be greatly aided.
Bendigo kom je simjen tamje dunga kasa niji komya dan jamje kom ane jamli di la nem de yo shiwa sam bige samna dine tawa samgi de nem de shigi marwa ane shale jamje kom bai ne shen dunga nyoa de dunga de le targi marwa dunga de nagara nyongura sam bige shale pando kaya sa mare sam bige da samno nalaya nganzo dine ge yongurwa namdo ro dokwa yongurwa.
Now let's move on and address a point here that one may have the doubt that whilst I can understand the benefit that comes from meditating on love and compassion and using the pandemic as our as the basis for this meditation, and give rise to certainly a sincere aspiration that may the pandemic and all the resultant suffering come to an end, well, what benefit actually comes to others from this? So now let's look at that doubt that may well arise.
가르스네 코로나 주기 동아 용고에 귀단 기엔 차상 좀 차와서 당하는 주기 삼다와 남산배바 차도 말와 다 이내 당하는 주기 팽기 말에서네 다 글리글리진 팽팽고 수마배네 슈라 글리진 팽고와 배네 조원의 소소라는 게 심전기 심전라 미베 잠바다 심전라 미베 니지곰 심전 탐지기 동아 세야기 체도 아 저게 계절 주바이나 조 소소를 팽거래 소소게 계절의 누바 소소게 개월 개위 바차도 누바 슈처였던 거 소소 샘로데 셈바상 했던 거 셈바 띵부차고 상 야 잠제 야네 야네까지 공부이네 잠지게 샘로데 슈처를 주고 와 뭐 소소를 팽거다 거두들래야 당고스 코로나 다이네야 다디 소소기 다 잘라 간스 팽기도 세네 유인이 팽거래 제 답변에 소소기 잠재까지 슈체 공부이네 여바이나 삼로도 슈체나 랑 미사치기나 랑 미사 나로 미디켈이야 기와용을 셈베대와용 도그래 안디 에윙기 안에 야호기 미디설이야 셈베기와 오 미디 셈바상 보여 미디 야보야서 미고 차다서 아니 데니토네 안에 소소기 셈바 xianla pan tu gore jisan sosu semba sangbo chene nyamnen cheba ina sosu ge xianla ana odini chewar din ji gyo mars labji ru chya bene pembe semgi xian digi se dunga se ge donda ya digi tuya da dunga se ge donda labji kya bene labji di konju nyen ya nyen chewa yore pen chewa yore jisan du chene jig rimbi chene pen ro gol ma to lamsa ne jige dine sambatsam yimbyaba charba shitoya yo mare jina dine jire an dine soso rarang samlo jamje gaji nuba char dobe ne soso janju semba chaya da sanjo koma thoye la tha nye ru go ro soso janju sembe chaya da dine ge tha nye ro du an janju semba chaba sanjo koma thoba ne xian li pan do gyachi mo che tu go ro dine enza soso gi xian li pan do juya gi pan ba juya ge gil tu 유비 돈에 판도 용도 벤도 죽투고 와.
This such a doubt or such a qualm, it actually makes some sense to have it, to have such a qualm. So therefore it's good to look at and gain clarity on this. Because hearing this teaching now, watching the news and having thoughts of love and compassion arising for others, or sitting on our cushion and engaging in this meditation and generating love and compassion for others, wishing for others to be freed of pain and difficulty, well, we know that doesn't solve the world's problems. It will not lead to the pandemic suddenly coming to an end and all those who are ill healing and so forth. And the reason for that is, as was expressed at the beginning of today's talk, that the beings, that having accumulated the causes and those causes having met the required conditions and the result having ripened, then that is the situation that beings find themselves in, and that is how things are right now. So what we are doing on our mental continuum cannot change that. However, just because through the power of our meditation we can't heal the world of its ills immediately, definitely does not mean that there is no benefit. So first, let's talk about the benefit that comes to the meditator, because this is so apparent. For us engaging in such a meditation, there is immediate, direct benefit. In the meditation, we experience greater happiness, peace of heart. And through becoming habituated to this way of thinking, in other words, doing this meditation repeatedly over a sustained period, we become more kind-hearted. And this comes about through becoming more habituated to love and compassion. And becoming habituated to love and compassion means these attainments become more stable within us. We go through our day more consistently kind-hearted. In other words, whatever we encounter, our natural response is governed by a gentle approach. So this is an immediate benefit to us. We experience greater happiness and we interact with events very differently. Then what about others? Well, there's a benefit to others too. So the direct impact is on our own continuum, but it's through this transformation, this mental development, the spiritual development within us, that we impact others in the short term as well as in the long term. So how does our mental development, our spiritual development, indirectly benefit others in the short term? That's most apparent on those that we live with, and also those that we encounter in our wider community. Because as we spiritually develop, through our process of inner transformation, we start to impact or interact with others in a different way. Our gentleness, our kind nature that is being developed, this becomes apparent to others. They observe this in our behavior, they experience this through our verbal communication. Moreover, they also observe this through how we now relate to life's difficulties and life's challenges, because through our spiritual development, what overwhelmed us before no longer does. And thereby, those in our immediate circles, such as our family, those in our wider community seeing this transformation, will turn to us for advice and guidance in dependence on seeing our inner transformation. And thereby, our advice will have a greater impact on them. So this is how indirectly we can have an impact on those around us, on our community. And that's the short-term development. That comes about right now and in this lifetime. But moreover, through this growing store of virtue, this powerful virtue that we're accumulating on our continuum, we are rapidly developing, progressing towards the cultivation of actual bodhicitta and arising as a bodhisattva, and thereby Buddhahood itself coming ever closer. Which means, as we progress spiritually, from lifetime to lifetime, we will have an ever greater beneficial impact on the lives of others. So therefore, in the short term, as well as the long term, these meditations have a great impact on others.
디링이 내암나 소비기 겐디 마체가 된다디 아주 대시 셰바나신 안체니 바단테 속이 토네 랍든 제가 제가 저기 냠len 제야디 겐 마체가 된다라 디칭원 고체 디리 제상당 아무 주딜레 둥어 녀에게 사본 주어레스 디 사본 둥어 녀에게 사본 디 아주 매버서야라 안에 지게 다디디 천리비기 단 멤비주기 람든 제샤바들 제주 디 냠len 제바 잠기 아주기 사 둥어 녀 사본이 매버서 두고 말에 둥어 녀에게 사본 매버서야라 상유 줌는 디게 롭된 제시바 가르선 개와 두고 그래 소아디 디리 제상 아주 개주 두바이나 가르선에 개와다 디바니디 차라나지리 지상 개와 가지 흉체나 디바디 흉충 두고래 지상 개와 가지 흉체나 개와기 대원녀에게 니바디 흉체라고 차고래 니바 흉까지 차차가는 동원녀의 니바디 흉충 두고래 되네 인장 저기 동원녀에게 니바디 가서 있으면 유를 요래스 스탠디 매바서야라 나저래 개와 두고디 개침물이 해서지고 다 개와 두탕 가르레스 나간 스투고레스 했는데 시안은 왜 잠니지 고미야다 잠바도 고미야 저와 고미야 잔슈셈 고미야 안디도네 나저 건절라 데비도네 아니 소스라랑게 메니사야 나가 사야 되네 이제 차차야 아니 최고부야 나이고네 아니 지게 온두스퇴야라 소바 온두스진 두고레스 되네 제가 있나 아저래 개와 슈치를 사투고래 개와 슈치 짜야도 아니 개위기 니버디 슈치를 두고래 니버 슈치를도 동안녀 여기 디비 니버디 슈충 두고레스 두시야고야디 근데 디레스 되네 제가 있나 소소유라 마온바네나 동아 마뇽와다 아니 제시엘레나 판도 주투야지 라젠이가라 판바용 용고레스지 근데 디링시에게 아주 냠는 저 조어디 가르스네 개화주야리 제산 되네 인상 다들 아주래 나무야 뒤에 직두셔로 지 여반상 개화주야기 내가 좀 먹어 고갑이하고 지어봐서 디 여바디 아주 고갑디 비셔 땅제 강도 지도기 한 적이 될이야 아니 계절 잠니죠 거미야 잔주셈 거미야 아니 지금 링아 이송 예쳤던 덤비 수름 송인스 벽거미야 되네 아주게 메네타야라 소버게 안 도스네 계절 줘야 돼 계침불에 해서 돼안 디링 기타 시야에 조디래다.
To summarize what we've spoken about today, we started by looking at how all our unwanted suffering comes about independent on both causes and conditions. And we spoke about how both of these are required. If either is missing or either is incomplete, that result will not come about. And that this process is actually known in the world. So if we take the virus, the coronavirus, as being the cause, for one to become ill, one needs to meet various conditions, and the medical community have advised us how to avoid coming into contact with those conditions, such as meeting infected people, and thereby we need to socially distance, we need to wash our hands, and so forth. So the advice is, the process is the same. There's a cause, so beware. Do not meet the required ripening conditions. And in that way, whilst there is a cause, you will not experience the result because it cannot ripen. So the scientific advice, the medical advice, needs to be followed and followed well. However, that alone will not eliminate the root causes which are on our continuum. Only the Buddha Dharma, only the techniques that Buddha Shakyamuni taught can deal with the inner causes. And the solution then to eliminate the inner causes in brief are accumulate virtue. To the extent that one accumulates virtue, this eradicates or weakens not the previously accumulated non-virtue, and secondly, makes it less likely we will accumulate further non-virtue. And how to do so? We spoke about this with the various meditations, but in particular, utilizing this manifest suffering that's so evident in the world to generate love and compassion for others. And once one has generated love and compassion, then engage in recitation of Om Mani Padme Hum, or if one prefers, prostrations or making offerings as one prefers. And now that we have this more time on our hands, we can do this regularly, generate this motivation, and for the duration of this, for as long as that motivation is strong within us, recite manis, accumulate virtue. And in this way, as the store of virtue arises or grows within us, we will be weakening our previously accumulated non-virtue. This means, in the immediate term, we are experiencing happiness. Moreover, we will be more readily experience happiness in the future because of these accumulated causes, and corresponding with this, we will experience less problems, less suffering, less difficulties, because we are weakening those previously accumulated causes that would lead to suffering. And in conjunction with this, as our virtue grows and our non-virtue weakens, not only are we spiritually progressing and developing now, but it becomes ever easier in this and future lifetimes to continue our process of spiritual progression, and that in particular attain bodhicitta and Buddhahood itself. So those are the benefits that come to us right now in this life, as well as throughout what remains of this life and our future lives. But these benefits will also be experienced by those that we encounter. So there's short-term benefits that come to those around us. In other words, those that we come into contact with in this life. As we spiritually develop, we'll have an ever greater beneficial impact on those around us. We'll cause less difficulty in the lives of others. In fact, we will actually ease the burden of difficulty that others experience through our mere presence, through our example. And moreover, as we spiritually develop, we will have an ever greater impact on the lives of others from life to life. So in this way we see that there are short and long-term benefits to ourselves and short and long-term benefits to others too through our spiritual development. So through training in the way that's been presented here in today's talk, as well as all the other teachings that you've received, we will be able to take this situation in the world and turn it into an opportunity to live this life in a meaningful way, to generate bodhicitta within ourselves, to transform ourselves and have an ever greater beneficial impact on others. So, thank you very much.